Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice of The Wandering Investors. So today we are in Asuncion in Paraguay and we'll be doing an analysis of a few apartments. So all of the numbers in terms of long-term rentals, long-term furnished rentals, and Airbnb as well. Return on investment figures in detail. And I already came here 2 years ago to do a full analysis of the market here. And back then I wasn't too interested, but things have changed. So we'll be discussing this together with Matt, who's been helping people move to Paraguay and who also started a real estate agency together with a few of his collaborators, helping people invest here in Asuncion. So Matt, tell us, what has changed in the market in the past 2 years?
Yes, so the last time you came 2 years ago, it was a bit different because the price were a bit higher, talking about apartments. And now there was a price correction in the market. There is a bit more competition in the developers. And also if we talk about renting apartments, the price also went up a little bit because more and more people are coming to Paraguay, to Asuncion, to do the residency, but also to live here and to do business.
Yeah, so the original thesis for investing in Paraguay is that the economy is healthy. It's seeing 4 to 5% economic growth per year. It's far away from conflict and drama. It's independent from an energy point of view, from a food point of view, from a water point of view. So there's really a lot going for it, especially as Paraguay's two big neighbors, Argentina and Brazil, have issues of their own. So there's a constant flow of capital and people moving here. So this thesis is really materializing. We're seeing so much immigration here. I mean, you're seeing it with your business. It's absolutely booming in terms of people moving here. I can barely recognize the place in 2 years. There's so many foreigners that have moved here to Paraguay. They're not just getting Plan B residencies, they're actually moving here and living here as well.
Exactly. We saw the numbers. We started our company almost 2 years ago. And at the beginning it was pretty empty, to be honest, when you came for the first time. And right now, as you said, so many people are moving in. So many people also want to invest in Paraguay because for the stability, for the low prices. And we will see with the numbers, but you can get honest return, I would say. It may not be the best yield percentage, but at the same time, it's a safe place to invest.
Yeah, so the yields have gotten a little better, especially here in the center. It's easier to find tenants as well than before, and there's a bit more liquidity in the market. So compared to 2 years ago, it's definitely an improvement. We'll look at that in detail. And you said that prices went down a little bit, but that's not in the whole city.
No, that's not in the whole city because the problem right now is the executive center, they are building a lot of apartments and it begins to be a bit crowded. So they start also expanding to the neighborhoods, especially Luque, which is the city where is the airport. So Luque is really also growing, and but you don't find the same kind of apartment there. In the executive center, it's more nice apartment with pools, gyms, and everything. The best place for foreigners, certainly. And in Luque, it's still growing, and it doesn't necessarily have pools. It's more for local people, but the price have been really up recently.
So essentially, when you're a foreigner, you probably just want to invest in, the central neighborhoods, and it's become more interesting. There's more rental demand, more people moving here. There's more to choose from when you're buying. There are more developments, and prices are down. So compared to 2 years ago, it's definitely a lot more interesting. So we'll look at that in detail. I've noticed it just when I'm booking for Airbnbs. 2 years ago, there was so much on the market and great apartments for super cheap. This time around, I booked about 2 months in advance and I struggled to find a half decent place actually.
Yeah, basically the demand is growing a lot. So it becomes really interesting to make good returns here. And the best thing you should look into the market if you want to invest is to be close to a shopping center, because here in Paraguay, it's where the activity is, where you can find nice restaurants, you can find clothing stores, everything. And you don't want to be in the historic center.
Yeah.
It's still a bit growing and it will need more time to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Paraguay is mall culture. You want to be close to the nice malls. That's what it comes down to. I'd also add some, and you see like funny houses like this. I mean, this one's quite fun to look at. What's important to understand is I'd be very wary of going into the cheaper areas just to try to make a bit more capital gains or just to try to squeeze things, because there are very few zoning regulations here in Paraguay. So if you're in an area that's too cheap, developers are very capable of buying over the homes around because they're affordable and then just building these massive structures. So in some areas of Asuncion, there's just absolute oversupply. I think that area is Las Lomas.
Yeah, it's building everywhere.
They're building everywhere and you don't want to be buying there. But if you go into prime areas where prices have gone down, because the houses are generally quite nice, like you see things like that, like they're never going to sell to a developer to build a building here. And a lot of the homes are quite expensive themselves. I mean, here there's a cup. The house there is quite big. They also won't sell this for land. So there's a natural cap on, generally speaking, on how much they'll be able to build. And areas like this neighborhood is called
Villamora and Recoleta. It's between those two.
So right here we're in Recoleta, and this area will remain, nice and green for a long time. So
and at the same time, it gives a nice feel in the neighborhood because you have really nice building, really recent, and beautiful houses, and you can walk around. As you can see, it's really green. So it's a different feel from the place where you have only buildings or the poor area closest to the historic center.
yeah, so very important. Cool, fantastic. So let's go to the first apartment and we'll do all of the numbers in detail.
Okay, so here is a typical one-bedroom apartment that you can find in Asuncion. You have here the bathroom, a really separate bedroom. You can also find a pool on the rooftop and with a really nice view that people really enjoy here.
And gym and parking and all that, right?
Yes, exactly. So all the amenities needed. And this is amazing. The view is great.
Nice city.
Yeah, it's a really nice area. So this is one of the most expensive neighborhoods, of course, because as you can see, it's really green. A lot of nice houses with pools, but at the same time, some building everywhere, a little bit, not too much. So it's a really nice zone to invest here.
Look, I mean, expensive is very relative. You're looking at $1,500 to $2,000 a square meter. So, roughly $130 to $180 dollars per square foot for, apartments like this. Look, there's a fair amount of construction here. Construction here, down there. So will rental yields remain the same? Will they go down a little bit? I don't know. I don't think rental yields will go up much more with all the construction going on. But then again, a lot of people are moving here and the country's getting wealthier. So it's hard to say, but I wouldn't come here expecting to make crazy yields. So we'll be doing the numbers in detail. So you have increasingly your clients who have been coming here for residency. Before they weren't buying, but now they are.
Yes, of course. So yeah, basically there are three kinds of people buying here from our clients. First kind is the people who want to live here. So basically they usually buy 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom depending on the size of the family. Some people, they also spend 3-4 months per year here. So they usually buy 1 bedroom apartment and they rent it when they're not here. And the other kind of people, they just see Paraguay as a really good opportunity for diversification. That's why they buy flats and they directly put it here on Airbnb.
Cool. All right, fantastic. Let's do the numbers.
Okay.
Great. So before jumping into the numbers, I wrote a whole article on the Asuncion real estate market, the neighborhoods to look into, the neighborhoods to avoid, etc. There's a link below, and you guys created an FAQ sheet as well?
Yes, exactly. So we basically answer everything you need to know about real estate in Asuncion, whether if you want to invest or if you're just interested to explore the market.
Cool. Okay. There's a link below as well. All right. So this apartment, how much would it cost off plan?
So off plan, it would be around $79,000 to buy it.
And what are the payment terms?
Usually you can pay during construction, so it's like between 30 and 36 months.
Okay. So almost 3 years of payment.
Exactly, without any additional fee.
Okay, cool. What about the closing costs?
So the closing cost is between 3 and 4%. So let's say 4 to be more conservative.
So let's say I buy this apartment, I don't try to furnish it, I just want to rent it out on the local long-term market. How much rent could I get from it in dollar equivalent?
This kind of apartment, you can rent it for $500,
What would be the occupancy rate, roughly?
about 90%.
What would be your fees for the management?
For the management fee, it's roughly 10%.
What about HOA?
In Paraguay, it's about $1.2 to $1.3 per square meter. So for this apartment, it should be around $60.
What about the property tax and the maintenance?
So the property tax would be around 500 per year, and the maintenance, knowing that we don't have any furniture, should be around 400.
So this gives us a net yield of a bit below 4% on the local long-term market. Is this typical of the market?
Yeah, it's pretty typical of what you usually can get. That's why we always recommend the people to furnish the apartment, to rent it furnished, or even in Airbnb.
Cool. So let's do long-term furnished rentals first. So let's say I want this sort of furniture. How much would it cost me?
The full furniture package should be around $4,000 to have nice stuff to be competitive in the market.
How much would the rent be then?
The rents then should move from 500 to 650.
Okay. And the occupancy remains the same, or?
It should be around the same 80 to 90%.
Okay. So we just drop it a little bit on this one to be conservative.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, when you do furnished rentals, the reality is that people don't tend to stay as long.
But at the same time, on the Asuncion market right now, there are really few furnished apartments, and more people are willing to stay 3-4 months. I would say it's a pretty good idea. So when you have a furnished apartment, you just raise a little bit the maintenance costs, should be around 500 per year. And with these numbers, you are almost at 5% yield income.
Okay. So 5% net yield furnished. Let's do Airbnb now.
Yes.
So an apartment like this on Airbnb, what would be the nightly rates, the occupancy rate? Because you guys manage a bunch of Airbnbs.
Exactly. So for this kind of apartment, should be around 35 per night. It could be more, but let's stay conservative about the numbers. Usually it's about 70% for the occupancy rate, but you can reach 80-90% without any problem if you make a good listing.
Yeah, and the quality of listings here in Asuncion is absolutely appalling. There's very little competition in the market. So if you have someone half competent preparing your listing, putting good pictures, an actual description, not pictures with the random mop in the middle, you'll be doing well. People here are just really bad with the listings.
Yes, and at the same time, they just buy to put their money here, and they don't want to bother make a nice listing. So you really have a hedge if you make a little bit more work.
Cool. So what about your management fee for short-term rentals?
For Airbnb style, it's about 20% for the management fee, because it's a little bit more work out than over.
I mean, it's a lot more work. Dealing with people's crap is invariably a lot of work. And then what about the utilities? So internet, electricity, water, how much should one budget per month?
For the electricity bill and internet, it's around $65.
So essentially we end up with a net yield of about 5.5%. So better than just long-term rentals. You have clients that are doing more, right? 7-8% net.
Yeah, it's totally doable. As we commented, you just need to make a nice listing. Also to have someone who take care of the apartment and answer to the customers, basically, because it's not always the case when you book something here.
Yeah, so I wasn't comfortable showing 7 to 8% because I'm seeing a fair amount of construction. And I think a lot of people will be putting their stuff on Airbnb, and then gradually other agencies will start to become a bit more competent with Airbnb. So that's why I just wanted to put conservative numbers. But if you come now and buy now an existing apartment, negotiate a good price, put it on Airbnb, 7 to 8% in the current environment is doable. Just long-term, or midterm rather, I think yields are just going to go down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Great. So now we're going to go check out a little studio, right?
Exactly. Let's see the numbers.
All right, let's go.
So you can get a Bolt. It's like an Uber here for $1.50. You can have a 10-minute ride. It's just really cheap. So here we are in a 60,000 studio. It's pretty little, but just enough. So here you have the TV space. Here the bedroom part separated, and of course the best view of Asuncion and the barbecue.
Wow, a barbecue for a studio. That's wild.
Yeah, most of the building they keep doing it because it's really popular here in Paraguay to make barbecues in apartments.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah. what's important to understand here in Asuncion is the lifestyle. This building is a bit different than the other. The pool is larger, nicer, better view. And of course, the studio we visited is a little bit smaller, but it doesn't really matter. In the end, people coming here, they want to stay 1 month and they want to have good amenities.
Cool. So it's $60,000 for the studio. What are we looking at in terms of rentals?
So in terms of the rental, for long term, it's around $400. If you rent furnished, $500. And if you look into Airbnb, it's about $30 per night. Let's say at 70% occupancy. Even if in reality, we manage the apartment you saw and we reach more than 90% occupancy.
So we put 70% to be conservative in the numbers, and using these conservative numbers, we're looking at net yield of between a bit above 4% and 6.2%, roughly. But yeah, you're doing better than that,
We're almost at 8% right now, so
which is not bad. Are there any Airbnb restrictions in Asuncion?
right now there is absolutely no restriction about Airbnb, and we believe that in the future it should be alright because the government is not restricting the people here, and the kind of people coming to Paraguay are not people doing too much party. I mean, it's still people coming for the residency, people working remote, so it's pretty quiet actually.
So the type of people going to Colombia, that can cause problems with neighbors, not the same type of crowd here. Here you're looking at just, like you said, people working online, digital nomads, families. They come here for a few months. They don't come for a rowdy week of just debauchery. They come here for other purposes. So generally speaking, the neighbors don't get angry at the fact that they're Airbnb operation a building. No guarantees, obviously, but the dynamics are very different here. So I wrote a whole article on the Asuncion real estate market, the interesting neighborhoods, the neighborhoods you should avoid, and then you also have your free download, an FAQ with a bunch of facts on the Asuncion real estate market. There's a link below, and then feel free to get in touch with Matt. He can help you with all your real estate needs as well as residency here in Asuncion.
Whether you want to buy or you want to put on Airbnb, yeah, you can take care of it.
All right, fantastic. Matt, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, link below. And feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.